Trevor Quickshot Henry, almost the end of day 3 of MSI. What can we even say about the games? It was a pretty fantastic best of 5 against Fnatic and SKT. Like, how do you feel having casted it?
Incredibly lucky. I've been fortunate enough to have casted the last 2 Fnatic best of 5s, which also went all the way. And I was very surprised. I did not expect Fnatic to show up the way that they did, because their group stage performance was just so hit or miss. And I'd like to think that Fnatic could keep that level up when they take it back to Europe. But Game 5, SKT, it was them in their finest. Absolute control. Really, there was no chance for Fnatic in that final deciding match.
I mean, like you mentioned before, having seen them in 2 exciting best of 5s recently, like, I guess you could say that the first best of 5 was exciting, but maybe many people felt like it wasn't the highest of quality. Like, did that sort of paint a picture for you going into MSI that maybe Fnatic wouldn't perform well?
I think that painted the picture for everybody. But it was one of doubt. I think a lot of pre-tournament analysts and pre-tournament thinking was that Fnatic was going to bring the sort of sloppy, chaotic style in, and that the more refined international teams would absolutely destroy them. The one things that we talked about a lot, especially within the EU caster team, was that Fnatic's aggressive style, while it was messy and rough around the edges, it was very proactive. So if they took that mess and threw it in your lap and you didn't know what to do with it, they'd win, right? So that shone through. I think you saw it in the group stage, and then you saw a better, more effective version against SKT.
Again, like, drawing parallels between the 2 best of 5 series, obviously Power of Evil was a star player at the EULCS finals, and you know, he gave Febiven a run for his money with like Varus mid and that kind of stuff, surprising stuff. But then here, you know, seeing Febiven go against Faker and even getting like 2 solo kills on him, like, do you feel like there's almost like Febiven then and Febiven now are 2 completely different players?
I don't think that's entirely the case or entirely fair. I think the matchup has a lot to do with it. Zed into Azir, where he got the solo kills, it's actually heavily in favor of Zed. So that's part 1. We also had that little soundbite right at the end of the game where you hear Febiven saying, "Look, if you ward for me, I'm going to go in and pop him every time." And what that ends up telling you is that these guys actually had a team game. Reignover was providing the vision that allowed Febiven to play hyper-aggressive. I think, however, his very confident play, because he completely disregarded the fact it was Faker. There was no hesitation, there was no doubt. You compare that to Energy from Besiktas, who got into a 1v1 with Faker, and he was like running away, everyone was like, "Oh, it's Faker, run away." And he ended up losing the duel because of that sort of defensive, reactive mindset. So I think next time Power of Evil and Febiven go head-to-head, Febiven might just go a little more ham.
How do you even look at the EULCS come the next season, which is pretty soon? Like, obviously, star mid laners is one of the things that most people look at when it comes to Europe, but overall, I'd just say that it was the rookie season last split. Do you think that like they'll still be like teams like H2K? Do you think that UL and Fnatic will like make up the top, or do you think like there will be sort of like a stabilization now with all the roster changes and the old guard coming back?
So roster changes is a really big story, and we still don't know who's going to end up where. Nobody knows what's going to happen with Elements. There's so many rumors about SK, who's going to be the AD carry. You know, Forgiven's out. Candy Panda just joined in, and he was struggling towards the end there. And I don't know. What I would say, my instincts tell me that it's now the rookies generation. There's going to be a lot of eyes on Origin and how well they're going to perform. And they bring this wealth of experience and talent, but almost all of the old guard, almost all of the old players are falling one by one by one, and it's these new young teams. Fnatic, H2K, and Unicorns of Love made it the top 3.
Yeah.
And amongst them, I believe there was only 3 or 4 players who had played previously at a professional level.
Right.
So my instinct, young guns are there to take over.
What does the heart tell you, though?
Young guns as well. Yeah, I think there's a little bit of truth to the saying, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. And we'll see. Summer Split will prove whether that's true or false.
So, if we then take our eyes on towards the final here, or like at least the final game, obviously SKT are in the finals. Probably a shakier journey than most would have imagined. Either we will have the upset then of seeing HQ, who pretty much no one suspected to be in the being able to get into the finals, playing against them, or it will be EDG. who do you think will get in there, like, and who would you want to see? You know, again, the head and heart sort of analogy.
So I would like to actually see EDG for both. Yeah. I love the underdog story, and I think AHQ maybe less of an underdog after seeing them play than pre-tournament thoughts. But EDG, at their best, are an even better version of Fnatic. They have very aggressive play, they love to fight, they just go in all the time. And I actually said at the beginning of this tournament that I felt Fnatic and EDG's play styles were very similar. And it's actually shown through the more games that we watch. Seeing how far Fnatic pushed SKT makes me think EDG may actually be able to win that series if they play at the best. The problem is you need EDG from day 2 of groups, not EDG from day 1. So much like Fnatic, they've got this topsy-turvy ability. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
All right then. Thank you so much for doing the interview. Any final words?
No, pleasure to chat to Fragbite. I've known you guys for ages, especially from Counter-Strike days. So thank you very much.
Thank you.